inside Israel, there is a very serious faction of Israeli politics that does not care. Okay, they don't care about the humanitarian consequences of these things. That's the point. And there's a recent op-ed, I believe it was in the Times of Israel, written by Moshe Feiglin, who is a member of the Knesset. He is a leader in the Likud party, which is Benjamin Netanyahu's party. He's probably a bit more to the right of Netanyahu, maybe a bit less cynical, more upfront. So I just want to be clear that when we're talking about this guy, this is someone with real political power who has real status in Israel. This is not a column from a random crank. He wrote a column called My Outline for a Solution in Gaza. And I'll just want to review a couple of these things, because this is what's happening. Ultimatum. This is Moshe Feiglin. Quote, one warning from the Prime Minister of Israel to the enemy population, in which he announces that Israel is about to attack military targets in their area and urges those who are not involved and do not wish to be harmed to leave immediately. Again, where are they going? Well, he'll tell you. Sinai is not so far from Gaza and they can leave. This will be the limit of Israel's humanitarian efforts. He doesn't even say what type of window these people get to supposedly make this easy trip to the Sinai. Hamas may unconditionally surrender to prevent an attack. 2. Attack. Attack the, quote, entire target bank throughout Gaza with the IDF's maximum force, and not a tiny fraction of it, with all conventional means at its disposal. All of the military and infrastructural targets will be, quote, will be attacked with no consideration for, quote, human shields or, quote, environmental damage. It is enough that we are hitting exact targets and we are giving them advance warning. Siege. Parallel to the above, the total siege of Gaza. Nothing will enter the area. Israel, however, will allow an exit from Gaza. Civilians may go to Sinai. Sinai. Fighters may surrender to IDF forces. Conquer. After the IDF completes the, quote, softening of the targets with its firepower, the IDF will conquer all of Gaza using all of the means necessary to minimize any harm to our soldiers and with any other considerations. Elimination. The GSS and IDF will thoroughly eliminate all armed enemies in Gaza. The enemy population that is innocent of wrongdoing will be separated from the armed terrorists, will be treated in accordance with international law and allowed to leave. Israel will generously aid those who wish to leave. Sovereignty. Gaza is now part of our land and will remain there forever. Liberation of parts of our land forever is the only thing that justifies endangering our soldiers to capture land. Subsequent to the elimination of terror from Gaza, it will become part of a sovereign Israel, and it will be populated by Jews. There will also serve the easing of a housing crisis in Gaza. The coastal train will be extended as soon as possible to reach the entire length of Gaza. And he goes on. Now, this is a really important member of the Likud party, and I think that one of the tensions that some people have pointed out is the fact that there is a left in Israel. However flawed that may be, there is strong liberal impulses. There are some minimal international checks, and that's why, Gaza has been in an in-between stage, frankly, where there's been obviously a policy that is a totally inhumane policy towards the Gazans. But there are other governments that obviously engage in just wholesale relocations and mass indiscriminate killing at a level that you have not seen in Gaza. Well, now you're starting to see it directly advocated, and he is not the only one, by a member of Knesset. So if we don't get serious as progressive forces about aligning with progressives in Israel and progressives in Palestine and getting serious about all of the aspects of this issue, you're going to see two things. You're going to see a continuation, obviously, of what's already happening, which is completely unacceptable morally, strategically, geographically. And you're going to see an emergence of these types of voices more and more, calling for the outright ethnic cleansing of Gaza. Many people have called for these things within Israeli politics, but now, and increasingly, senior members members of the Knesset, members of the Likud party, members of emerging settler parties, which have even more power. And the Israeli center is completely pressed and irrelevant and cynical. And the left is being internally marginalized and subject to the same types of surveillance practices, violations of civil liberties that we criticize within the United States. That is the situation. And you're going to see columns like this, and you're going to see calls like this, and you need to look it straight in the eye.